Have you ever stood at the precipice of ending a relationship, feeling like you're about to jump off a cliff without knowing what lies below? That moment when your finger hovers over the send button of a breakup text, or when you're packing your bags while your partner is at work, or when those words "I think we need to talk" are sitting at the tip of your tongue. Stop, take a breath, and watch this first. My name is Chris, and today we're diving deep into perhaps the most consequential decision many of us will ever make, whether to stay or walk away from a significant relationship. This isn't about convincing you to stay in a situation that's wrong for you. Rather, it's about making sure that whatever choice you make comes from a place of clarity, not confusion, wisdom, not wounded emotions. According to relationship researcher Dr. John Gottman, 69% of relationship conflicts are perpetual problems, issues that will never be resolved. Think about that. Over 2/3 of the things couples fight about will never fully go away. Yet some couples thrive for decades while dealing with these same unresolvable issues, while others crumble under their weight. The difference isn't in having problems, it's in how we approach them. Before you decide to end your relationship, I want to share perspectives that might reshape how you see your current situation. Because here's the truth: in the emotional fog of relationship struggles, we often can't see clearly. Our brains literally process information differently when we're stressed or hurt. Psychologist Dr. Lisa Firestone explains this phenomenon. When we're triggered emotionally, the amygdala, our brain's alarm system, activates while the prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thought, becomes less accessible. In other words, the very moments when we need our best thinking are often when we're least capable of it. So let's clear that fog together. Before diving deeper, I want to establish 3 fundamental truths that rarely make it into the romantic movies or Instagram relationship posts. Truth 1: all relationships go through seasons of connection and disconnection. Even the healthiest couples experience periods where they feel distant or disconnected. Clinical psychologist Dr. Alexandra Solomon calls these seasons of marriage and notes that expecting constant connection is setting yourself up for disappointment. Truth 2: love transforms multiple times throughout a relationship. The butterflies in your stomach feeling isn't meant to last forever. It biologically can't. Anthropologist Helen Fisher has identified 3 phases of love: lust, attraction, and attachment. Each serves a different purpose and feels distinctly different. Many people mistake the natural evolution of love for falling out of love. Truth 3: your relationship problems are likely more normal than you think. Whatever you're struggling with, communication issues, sexual desire discrepancies, financial tensions, they're remarkably common. In fact, therapists hear the same core issues from couples day after day, regardless of background, age, or circumstance. With these truths in mind, let's explore 5 crucial considerations before ending your relationship. 1. Are you ending a relationship or a chapter? Every long-term relationship goes through distinct phases. What feels like an ending might actually be a difficult transition to a new chapter. Dr. Sue Johnson, developer of emotionally focused therapy, explains that relationships naturally cycle through periods of connection and disconnection. What many perceive as falling out of love is often just a natural valley in this cycle, a temporary disconnection that feels permanent when you're in it. Consider this. Research shows that 66% of couples who were considering divorce but stayed together reported being happy 5 years later. That's 2/3 of people who nearly ended their relationships but found happiness by staying and working through their challenges. Ask yourself, are you truly incompatible with your partner, or are you simply struggling to navigate a challenging transition together? Is this the end of your love story, or merely the end of a chapter within it? I remember speaking with a woman named Maya who had been married for 12 years. She was convinced her marriage was over. The passion was gone, communication had broken down, and she felt like she and her husband were simply roommates. She had drafted divorce papers but hadn't signed them. At her friend's urging, she tried one last approach, a couples retreat weekend. During that weekend, she realized something profound. It wasn't her marriage that was ending, but a phase of their relationship. They had been stuck in patterns that worked in their 20s, but were completely insufficient for the complex demands of their current lives. With new tools and perspectives, they rebuilt not the same relationship they had before, but something deeper and more resilient. 4 years later, Maya told me, "I almost threw away a good relationship because I didn't understand it needed to evolve." 2. The relationship autopsy, identifying what's actually dead. Before declaring a relationship beyond saving, it's crucial to accurately diagnose what's wrong. Many relationships end not because they're fundamentally broken, but because of misdiagnosis. Dr. Alexandra Solomon from Northwestern University suggests conducting a relationship autopsy, a careful examination of what's actually working and what isn't. This means separating relationship problems into 3 categories. 1. Deal breakers, issues that genuinely make the relationship unsustainable, abuse, fundamental value incompatibilities, etc. 2. Growth opportunities, challenges that feel terrible but actually represent chances to deepen connection, communication styles, navigating life transitions. 3. Normal relationship stuff, issues that virtually all couples face and must learn to manage: occasional boredom, annoying habits, disagreements about chores. Most people dramatically overestimate how many of their problems fall into the first category while underestimating the second and third. Here's a startling finding from relationship research. 69% of relationship conflicts are what Dr. John Gottman calls perpetual problems, issues that couples will never fully resolve because they stem from fundamental personality differences or values. The most successful couples aren't those without these problems. They're the ones who learn to discuss them with humor, affection, and acceptance. Ask yourself, have you accurately categorized your relationship struggles? Are you possibly mistaking growth opportunities for deal breakers? A useful exercise is to write down your top 3 relationship complaints and then honestly assess, are these truly insurmountable problems, or are they challenges that many couples face and overcome? 3. The distortion of negative sentiment override. When relationships struggle, our brains play a cruel trick on us. Psychologists call it negative sentiment override, a perceptual bias where we start interpreting neutral or even positive actions from our partner in a negative light. Dr. John Gottman's research has shown that once negative sentiment override takes hold, a partner could literally bring home flowers and the other might think, what are they feeling guilty about? Or they're just trying to manipulate me. This phenomenon literally rewrites your relationship history in your mind. Research shows that couples in negative sentiment override will reinterpret previously happy memories through a negative lens. That romantic beach vacation from 3 years ago, suddenly you're remembering only the arguments, not the beautiful moments. Before ending your relationship, you must honestly assess, are you seeing your partner and your history together accurately, or has negative sentiment override colored everything in shades of disappointment? A powerful exercise is to intentionally recall 3 unambiguously positive memories with your partner. Times when you felt deeply connected, understood, or happy together. Allow yourself to fully re-experience these moments. This can begin to counteract the distortion effect of negative sentiment override. 4. The 80-80 marriage principle. One of the most transformative concepts in modern relationship psychology comes from Drs. Nate and Kaylee Klemp, who introduced what they call the 80-80 marriage. The principle is simple but profound. Most relationship problems arise because each person feels they're giving 80% while their partner is only giving 20%. In reality, both partners are typically giving about 60%, seeing their own efforts as greater than they are, while undervaluing their partner's contributions. The radical approach they suggest is for both partners to strive to contribute 80%, not 50-50, but 80-80, creating a relationship of radical generosity and shared ownership. Before ending your relationship, consider, have you been keeping a mental scorecard of contributions? Have you fallen into the trap of waiting for your partner to do their fair share before you fully commit to improvement? I'm curious, if you were to honestly assess, what percentage of effort do you feel you're giving to make this relationship work? and what percentage would you say your partner is contributing? If you're like most people, you'll notice a discrepancy. The key insight is recognizing that your partner probably sees these percentages very differently. 5. The future self perspective. One of the most powerful exercises I recommend to anyone considering ending a significant relationship comes from psychology's work on temporal selves, the idea that we experience our past, present, and future selves as different people. Research has shown that connecting with your future self leads to better decision-making in the present. Here's how to apply this to your relationship decision. Imagine yourself 10 years in the future. This future you has wisdom and perspective your current self lacks. Have a conversation with this future self about your relationship. What would they advise? What questions would they ask you to consider? What might they see that you currently can't? When researchers have people engage in this exercise, they often discover that their future self has a more balanced perspective, less caught up in immediate emotions and more focused on long-term well-being and growth. Your future self might point out that the current painful growth you're experiencing could lead to your most profound personal development. Or they might affirm that what you're experiencing is truly a sign that this relationship has served its purpose in your life journey. The point isn't to prejudge the outcome, but to access a wiser perspective than your current emotional state might allow. Everything I've shared assumes you're in a relationship that, despite its problems, is fundamentally respectful and non-harmful. There are absolutely situations where the right decision is to leave, and to leave as soon as safely possible. 1. Physical or emotional abuse. Any pattern of behavior designed to control, intimidate, or harm you is cause for immediate concern. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, abuse often escalates over time, rarely resolving without professional intervention. 2. Active addiction, where help is refused. Supporting a partner through addiction recovery is one thing, enabling destructive behavior is another. 3. Fundamental betrayals of trust, without remorse or change. While relationships can recover from betrayals, this requires genuine remorse and committed effort to rebuild trust. 4. Fundamental incompatibilities in core values or life goals. Some differences truly are irreconcilable, particularly around non-negotiable life choices like having children. If you recognize your relationship in these descriptions, the considerations I've shared earlier may not apply. Your focus should be on accessing support resources and creating a safety plan if necessary. Let me share a statistic that shocked me when I first heard it. According to the American Association of Marriage and Family Therapists, 97% of couples who tried therapy reported getting the help they needed. Yet the average couple waits 6 unhappy years before seeking help. Think about that. 6 years of unnecessary suffering before taking a step that has a 97% satisfaction rate. That's like having a treatable illness and waiting 6 years to take medicine with a 97% efficacy rate. If you haven't tried couples therapy or relationship coaching, ask yourself why. Common reasons include: 1. It's too expensive, though many don't compare it to the financial cost of separation. 2. My partner won't go, though many therapists will work with individuals on relationship issues. 3. It won't help, despite not having tried it and strong evidence to the contrary. 4. It means admitting failure, though seeking help is actually a sign of commitment, not failure. As relationship expert Esther Perel says, today we turn to one person to provide what an entire village once did, a sense of grounding, meaning, and continuity. At the same time, we expect our committed relationships to be havens for personal growth and self-actualization. With expectations this high, it's unreasonable to think couples don't need support and skills development. If you've made it this far in the video and still feel uncertain about your relationship's future, I want to propose what I call the 6-month experiment. Rather than making a permanent decision from your current emotional state, commit to 6 months of deliberate relationship work. This isn't staying in limbo, it's making an active choice to fully engage in the relationship with the specific goal of clarity. During these 6 months, 1. Seek professional guidance. Find a couples therapist or relationship coach with an approach that resonates with you. 2. Implement a weekly relationship check-in. Set aside 30 minutes weekly to discuss what's working, what's challenging, and specific appreciations. 3. Revisit your relationship's purpose. Together, explore why you chose each other initially and what purpose your relationship might serve going forward. 4. Build new positive experiences. Research shows that relationships need at least a 5:1 ratio of positive to negative interactions to thrive. Actively create positive experiences together. 5. Practice radical honesty with compassion. Commit to expressing your needs and feelings directly but without blame. At the end of 6 months, you won't wonder what if. You'll know you gave your relationship a fair chance with your full engagement. The clarity this provides is invaluable, regardless of the ultimate outcome. I want to end with perhaps the most important relationship consideration of all, the one you have with yourself. Psychologist Dr. Margaret Paul introduces the concept of self-abandonment in relationships when we blame others for our feelings, make them responsible for our worth, or avoid our own emotions through various distractions. Before deciding to end a relationship, ask yourself, am I fully showing up for myself within this relationship? Have I clearly communicated my needs? Am I taking responsibility for my own happiness while being open to connection? Sometimes what feels like a relationship problem is actually a self-relationship problem. As psychologist Esther Perel notes, the quality of your relationships determines the quality of your life, but the quality of your relationship with yourself determines the quality of all your other relationships. Whether you ultimately decide to stay or go, what matters most is that your choice comes from clarity rather than confusion, wisdom rather than wounded emotions. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer." Your relationship questions deserve this kind of patient attention. The decision to stay or leave is rarely as time-sensitive as our emotions make it feel. Remember, all relationships go through seasons. Love transforms multiple times. Your challenges are likely more normal than you think. Negative sentiment override distorts your perception. Professional help has a remarkably high success rate. The relationship you have with yourself affects all others. Whatever you decide, my hope is that you make your choice from a place of self-awareness and clarity, not from fear, unchecked assumptions, or temporary emotions. If you found value in this perspective, please subscribe and share with someone who might need to hear this message, and I'd love to hear your experiences in the comments below. Thank you for trusting me with your time and attention today. See you in the next video.